Hi, my name's Paul McCarthy with Hero Facility Services. Welcome to LinkedIn Live, and this is going to be called the Vendor Edition. I've got two great girls on here that I met through RIFMA Vendor Voice, and they're rock stars in the industry. So, if I could bring on Jonnye and Cari. Hello, ladies. How are y'all?
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Good, good.
Good morning.
Good morning. And it's a little bit early for you, Cari, isn't it?
Well, yeah, 9 a.m. Still morning.
Still morning. We had a little trouble with time zones, but we worked it out. So let's talk because the two girls are scared because I've done something different for them. I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a rapid fire coming up, but I want to say Jonnye and Cari, when I came on with RIFMA, both of them were people that I looked up to because of the way that they conducted business. I'm not a transactional person. I'm a relational person. And I noticed that with these two girls when I first started. So thank you for how y'all are and what y'all do.
Thank you. I don't know about looking up 'cause I'm only 5'3", but Johnny's a little bit taller. But no, that's so kind of you.
In our heads, Carrie, when we're standing next to each other.
Yeah, the pictures are fantastic, but
Yeah.
thank you so much, Paul. That's so kind of you to say, and we're so happy to have you at RIFMA and on Vendor Voice. It's been awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer, and I know that both of y'all are going to keep your hands down, but Jonnye smiled first, so we're going to go with you, Jonnye.
Okay. All right, let's go.
You're going to have 5 seconds to answer each of these questions, and you can pass on one, but I will come back to it at the end.
Okay, my heart is racing so fast. Let's do it.
Worst food combo you secretly love.
A1 and saltines.
Most embarrassing song you know all the words to.
Eye of the Tiger.
Ooh. The one thing you'd bring to a deserted island, not practical, just honest.
My guitar.
Your I'm a grown up flex.
Um. Oh,
Eh.
not a robot vacuum.
Your most irrational fear.
Cockroaches.
The hill you'll die on.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I'm walking up that hill to figure it out. The hill that I will die on. Pass. Pass. Pass.
Yes. Okay. Well, I won't make you go back to that one. We'll just say you'll die on A1 on saltines. You'll die.
That's good. I don't know that I love it enough to like really go to battle for it, but
That's a whole nother story. We could spend an hour talking about how you figured out that was a combination. So next, we're going to go to Cari.
I'm already dying.
What's the most random thing in your purse or backpack right now?
Not right this side. It used to be toy cars. Like I used to have toys in my purse at all times.
Okay. A nickname you'd give yourself if you were a wrestler.
Oh my god. I don't know, but it would be a play on my last name with the weird. It'd be weird something.
Okay. Okay.
Or Scary Carrie. How's Scary Carrie? There we go.
Okay. That's
We'll
good.
do Scary Carrie.
Well, speaking of weird, the weirdest thing you believed as a kid.
Oh my gosh, a million of them. But one time, my brother convinced me that all the animals at the zoo were robots.
Okay.
I cried, and I was not that young, so it's traumatizing. It's really stuck.
A smell that instantly takes you back to your childhood.
Ooh. Racing fuel. My dad used to race cars, and yeah.
Okay. Your main character entrance song. What's your walkout song?
My walkout song. Oh God. AC/DC. I don't know anything from AC/DC. All of it.
Okay. Last one. One thing you're irrationally competitive about.
Cooking. God, yeah. Everybody has to like what I make food wise, or I die.
See, that wasn't that bad, was it?
It was not. It was not as bad. I hyped it up way too much. It's like Jonnye said, though. We woke up thinking about it this morning because I was like, what's it going to be?
They always say fear is worse than death itself because we sit there and we start thinking in our mind. So let's jump into what we're here to talk about. We're all on the vendor side, the manufacturer side, self-performing side. How has facilities changed for you ladies over the last, I'd say, 8 to 10 years? And Cari, I'll start with you.
I think one of the biggest things really has like been transparency and relationships between vendors. I feel like when I first got into the industry, everything was like a trade secret. You didn't want anyone to know who you were working for. And I think from the FM side, a lot of times they would just kind of accept someone saying the work was done. And now the transparency amongst show us what you've done, take the pictures, log in through service channel, do all these things. And to be honest, I think that transparency has bred a lot of better vendor relationships because now, like from the manufacturer side, is we can have those conversations with facility services companies and say, hey, this is what we expect. This is what you need to do. And also with our own technicians. But the transparency, I think, has made, like, yes, obviously it's a little bit more competitive and obviously everything is always price driven to an extent. But the transparency has kept everybody kind of in line of do good work, build good relationships, and the more work will come, essentially.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jonnye, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, just to first piggyback off of what Cari said, I mean, transparency is the biggest thing. Did you guys lose me? I'm frozen.
You're frozen.
Can you still hear me
Still
now?
hear you.
Okay. Transparency is the biggest thing because, as we all know, facilities, it is ever changing and facility management is ever changing. And so as a vendor, that transparency is so important so that you can change with them. But from the vendor perspective, I mean, facilities has just become faster, louder, just like, more data driven. And I hate to say this because it's a huge topic of conversation, but AI integrated. I think the main thing, though, is that a lot of people have kept the human aspect close to their hearts in this to kind of override that. It's way more human than people realize, and it will always be that way. Because even if we've added platforms, dashboards, CRMs, AI notes, note takers, all of that, they're great tools, but none of it replaces trust. None of it replaces transparency. They can be an aid in that. I mean, if anything, the speed has raised the bar for relationships because when something goes sideways, and it will, the relationship is what determines how fast you recover.
And that's the whole thing that I think everybody needs to realize on our side as vendors is those relationships that we build. I mean, there's a lot of trust. And it's a lot easier to make that call because we're human. We make mistakes. But it's a lot easier to make that call to somebody and talk to them when you're talking to a FM and they have that trust in you because they know you're going to make it right. I call it pitch slap when people go out and they just blanket and starts talking about features and benefits. Everybody has them. What makes
Mhm.
them different than other people?
Yeah.
What are some of the characteristics you see, Cari, that with your FMs and as you talk to them about your product, Duralast, what are some of the things you hear from them?
I think the biggest thing is that we do our best to educate not only our FMs, but even construction teams on why you would want a product like ours, right? And it's, we back it by warranties and things like that. But I think the biggest thing with us and what's made our relationship so great is that we back up the warranty. The warranty is not just this word that gets us in the door that makes us look real pretty, right? When, stuff hits the fan 7 to 10 years down the road, there's some companies that don't honor warranties or warranties get lost along the way. If we've put a roof on your building and you call Duralast and say, hey, something's going on, we're going to honor that warranty. The warranty is just it's not fluff. The other thing that I love that has just been so awesome is there's no fine print in our warranty. There's no asterisks in our warranty. And a lot of people tout the warranties to get in the door, but these FMs, when a construction team specifies a product like ours and then turns the building over to the FMs have to keep it running for 10, 15, 20 plus years. And our goal is to help them do that. And so if we can follow up with our warranty, if we can stand by our warranty, it makes their jobs easier. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. I want to be the easy button for them. I don't want them to ever have to question what's going on, pointing fingers, things like that. I mean, things like that happen, but we do our best to rectify any of those situations and really make sure that we're given the best quality with the best warranty every single time it's installed,
And I know from my background in roofing, you are right. There are a lot of little asterisks and a lot of little what ifs and exclusions that they won't replace it. Jonnye, are you still there?
I am trying to get my camera to work. It's my laptop one isn't even working. So it's like it just shut them both off, but I'll continue to work on it.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. So that's good. So Jonnye, when you talk to FMs and they talk about their vendors and what sets vendors apart, what do you hear? What are they saying to you?
We get all kinds of feedback, but I think that the biggest one that always sticks out to me that also translates into suppliers and vendors that I use is ownership. I mean, full stop ownership, right? Like great partners don't just report the problem. They come to you with solutions. They don't come to you with excuses. They don't wait to be as they think like the brand and not like a line item. Average, I would say that a lot of vendors or average vendors can say like, that's not in our scope, but that's not solution driven. That's not ownership, and in my opinion, a great partner is often saying, here's what we're seeing. Here's what I recommend. Here's why, if we can't be a partner in this situation, here's a couple recommendations of who you can reach out to, be that extra resource. When I was in aerospace before I came into the facilities world, one of my mentors to this day and boss at the time, his biggest message that he would always push is give them enough options that they don't have to buy anywhere else. Right. And so when you're coming to the table with a solution or with a proposal or with an option, they may have requested one thing, but give them the whole picture, give them options so that whether they could use that for budgeting or forecasting for the upcoming years, or they can say, you know what, that's a great idea. It's not as expensive as I thought. Let's go with option B. And give them a variety of things so that you're a one-stop shop for them and they don't have to go anywhere else. And I would say that those two things make a really great partner and set people apart as a vendor.
I love the word partner because you hear people say customer. And in our world, we want to be partners because I had a FM tell me at one time, he goes, listen, as long as I don't hear from the stores, he goes, I'm happy. Because with, especially in the restaurants, it goes from the GM up to the DO or the area director, and then it goes to the RFM. And so one of the things we've started tackling is we're building those in-store relationships, and we're truly partnering with them. I spent 20 years in restaurant, and I had a young manager call me on a Saturday night, had a 2-hour emergency. And I said, he said he was about to close. And I asked him, I said, you put it in as a 24-hour. What happened? He goes, oh, well, I snaked it. I thought I got it. And so I walked him through it, walked him through all the small wares that are going to be down that drain, told him to tell the dishwasher, quit squeegeeing it. So it's that education aspect that has really come into the facilities maintenance side and the facility managers too, because they are true educators these days when they walk into their stores.
I don't know if you've had this, but I have some FMs from some national brands that I work with where, we'll start emailing back and forth and I see in their signature line, they have links that's like, if you need plumbing help, click here. If you need this help, click here. And offering that hands-on immediate education that if that FM can't respond to that email or that service channel request immediately, they can do their due diligence to try and educate themselves, but also that the brand is putting forth the money to assist with those things, knowing that that's what keeps their restaurants open.
And that's true.
Yeah.
and you'll hear me say all the time, the scariest thing, 2 words I've ever seen, are store closed.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we've all walked up to a restaurant and it says store closed.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, that sometimes the people that aren't in the industry or around the industry, they don't understand, how can a store close?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why I started this show, because these FMs, facility managers, are really the backbone and the hub of the whole locomotive that goes with in the restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
Johnny,
Johnny says it sometimes. What do you call it, Johnny? Chaos something.
Chaos managers.
There you go.
But
Also,
yeah, it's
I
so
wonder.
funny because I have a client and a friend who every time I say that, he goes against it and puts his own spin on it. And I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's like, no, we're not chaos managers. We're manager planners or something like that. And I'm like, no, chaos managers is fitting. That's fitting.
It encompasses all of it. Also, Johnny, one thing that I loved, literally, like I wrote it down, is think like the brand and not like a line item. That is, I think that's an important thing to think about when you're choosing vendors, is who's going to advocate for my brand and isn't just here to get for the invoice to be paid. It's so important to have that relationship and that dynamic between the two. And again, back to relationships every time.
I think
go ahead, Johnny.
I was gonna say, I think it's really obvious when, a vendor comes in and they're just looking for a sell. Like when they're not looking for a partner, you can tell very quickly when that's someone's MO rather than like a long-term relationship with, an existing or new client.
That is true. And Johnny, you hit on AI earlier. AI is becoming prevalent. But I also think as we continue to develop with AI, there's going to be a pendulum swing back to the people aspect, because the old adage, people buy from people, is still very true. And there's not going to be an AI system out there that's going to sell a FM. So it's a really interesting time. I think that I always tell people AI is a great tool, but don't let it be you.
It's just a tool, though.
It is a tool.
Yeah. It's literally like that is what it should be used at, and let it do what it's good at. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the relationship, like that has to be human focused and human centric. AI can't pick up the phone and say sorry, right?
No.
It's not going to call your customer and say, hey, I'm so sorry we dropped the ball. Here's my solution, or let me take ownership of this. It's never going to do that. But it can make us as vendors maybe more efficient, so that we can get our jobs done quicker. There's all of these great aspects, but yeah, it's never going to replace picking up the phone.
Yeah, that's true. So let me ask y'all this. We're on LinkedIn, and it's a great platform, and all three of us are pretty active on it, and we all have different approaches on how we do. I myself, I'll say I'm more personal, storytelling, motivational. What do you see LinkedIn being for a vendor partner? How do you capitalize on it? How do you use it?
Johnny, you want to go first?
Yeah. LinkedIn, I think for me initially, I had just started because I was new to the industry. And so I started connecting with a lot of people, but then I realized, the interacting and connection, like actual connection with people through posting and comments and interactions, made a huge difference. Not only in the relationship that they hold with you, but also what others see, how you hold yourself online and also represent your company. And then when you're putting your face on LinkedIn and you're commenting and posting, and Paul, you do a great job of it as well. And Cari, both of you guys do. People know you when you're not behind the screen. You get into a conference and people recognize you. People are like, oh, I've seen you before. I see your stuff online. But I do think that LinkedIn has been, and I've actually kind of seen this shift over the past 5 years since I've been in the facilities industry. But I think over time, facilities now on LinkedIn finally has a place to be seen and understood, not just measured, because so many people weren't posting, and now you're seeing so many facility managers share their journey, so many vendors share their journey. And for a long time, facilities lived behind emails, tickets, budget. And LinkedIn is now being used as a storytelling platform for people, chaos, the wins, the lessons. And what I've gained from it, as always, is connection. You build relationships with people you don't know, that you haven't met yet, and then when you finally work together, that trust is kind of already there. So I think the main thing is just show up and be real.
That's very true. Cari,
Yeah.
what do you have?
So at first, when I really started getting kind of active on LinkedIn, I kind of did the age old, like, okay, I'm going to share that I'm going to this show. I'm going to repost the post that the company did. And I'm just going to say, like, see us in Denver, see us here. And I was like, wow, 6 people saw it. 1 person liked it. And so one day I was like, you know what, this tagline is so business development manager. Like, obviously, like, we all know I'm a vendor, right? And I kind of threw a joke in there she is.
Welcome back.
You're on mute now.
I managed to get in on my phone. So everything else, my entire computer froze up. I apologize. Cari, keep going.
No, you're fine. So I threw a joke in my tagline, and I was like, you know what? Some people might look at it as not being professional, but if you know me, you'll know that I tend to throw a lot of jokes out there and try to be professional about it, right? And the next time I went to a show, I had someone come up and you're like, oh my God, you're the one with the tagline. And I was like, hi, nice to meet you. Like, my name is Cari. And I was like, wow, that literally just met someone because of something that I put on there, and started realizing, like, I hate the term, like, building a personal brand, but instead of looking at it as like building a personal brand, I looked at it as having connection with people when you're not at shows, right? Carrying on your personality and not being stuffy about it. It's not a personal social media page. My LinkedIn is full of stuff that I'm cooking all weekend.
Yeah.
Or my Instagram is, right? But my LinkedIn is, hey, we're here to do business, but we might as well have some fun, right? We're going to throw in like some roofing jokes. We're going to make silly giveaway items for our clients, and showing that realness and that authenticity and showing up like that on LinkedIn. It started transitioning into when I would see people, in person, and it was like, they thought that they knew me. And it was like, oh my God, we never met before, but I feel like I know you. And it's like, well, dang, there's a relationship that I didn't have. So I really focused on that side of it, and being transparent. It's posting silly stuff. Like, most of my photos are me being a goofball, but it's who I am, right? Like, that's who I am at a show. It's who I am online. It's not going to be different no matter where you look at it. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is when we're talking about transparency, authenticity is a big, big piece of that. And if you show up authentically on LinkedIn, then that transitions into your personal relationships when you get to shows and you're doing your networking and things like that.
And authenticity is one of those words that people use and they throw out there so often.
I know. I wish there was another one.
I know there needs to be another one. But, for example, like you, in my headline, I used to have the aspirin for facility managers' headaches.
I remember that. I think you had that tagline when I first connected with you on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I was like, it makes sense.
People will go, oh, you're the aspirin guy. Mm-hmm. But I also have people come up to me at conferences, because y'all know I'm a Roback addict, and that's all I wear except this ugly Christmas sweater. But I had 3 or 4 people go, you're the Roback guy.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with our companies, but it has to do with our companies.
Yeah.
Because they remember us with these distinctive little jokes or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So authenticity, and I put it in the title, is real people, real talk. And that's what we're doing. We're having that real talk, because it's hard to get it out there how important LinkedIn is for me, because I know a lot of facility managers that they'll look at the post, but they won't necessarily like it or comment, but you're still making that connection with them. So let me ask you this. I'm going to start with Jonnye since she's back and we can see her. If you were a RFM for a day, what would be something that you would want the store managers to understand about facilities?
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I had to, my sound is now being weird. Something about this program is just not wanting to work today. If I was an FM for a day, oh God, I would want them to, I would want to just take my brain and put it in theirs as a parking lot vendor, especially, right? Because when you're looking at specific trades and the downtimes of stores, and that word is very scary. When I say downtimes, I mean, a partial phase of something being closed off for just a little bit of time. To understand the long-term benefit of that short-term close down or whatever that might look like, and really have a full picture of what that is going to do for their store and for their region. If I was an RFM for a day and I was working with store managers on a daily basis, it would, as much as facilities isn't reactive, it is reactive, it's preventative, it's strategic as well, even when it doesn't look like it, right? And so I really want them to know that when facilities or vendors ask questions or push back, it's never to slow things down, it's never to cause hindrance, it's to protect their store, the budget, the long-term health of the site. And then also, just like vendors, facility teams are juggling a lot at once, multiple hundreds of stores sometimes at any given time. And the clear communication and understanding and expectations to be on the same page is so important. Because you'll run into situations sometimes where you get on site and a store manager just doesn't want anything to do with you. Like they don't care, just get it done and get out of here. Well, that's not going to be good at the end of the day. If we get done and something wasn't communicated because they didn't make themselves available, and then it gets climbed up the ladder, and then we're like, hey, we've tried. We tried. And so it's just that like the kind of give and take, that push and pull that you run into a lot. I think that anything that I would give a store manager would be just the understanding of, we still have to do our job as well. And I know that you have yours. So where can we meet in the middle and find that solution, right?
Yep. Yep. Cari, how about you?
If I was an facility manager for a day, I think first I would cry. I think that.
Can you hear Cari?
Yeah, can you hear me?
You're there, Jonnye. Are you there?
Yeah,
No,
I couldn't hear Cari. I thought she was muted. I'm so
Oh.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. But no, I think I would cry because I think it takes a really special type of person to be a facility manager. And I am self-aware enough to know that it's not me. Like we talked about earlier, I was so nervous about rapid fire. It's because I'm the person that looks at the restaurant menu 2 days before we go and I already know what I'm getting, right? I don't like unexpected surprises. That's just not the way I live my life. So first I would cry. If, looking at the store manager perspective, I think one thing, for them to understand about facilities, that over communication is the easiest way to get every job done, right? Over communicate, take extra pictures. If, sometimes we'll get work orders that have like 3 things: roof leak, cool, where, right? Like, where is it at? Where is it coming in from? Is it raining? Right? Like there's all of these different things where you're just like, okay, guys, we need a little bit more over communication. And over communication can never be a bad thing in facilities. If anything, it's going to make sure our vendor partners can do their jobs. And then it's also going to make sure maybe there's something uncovered that if you over communicate it, you find something new that you can take care of that could have been an issue. And now you're preventative about it. You're not reactive about it. So yeah, our friends that are facility managers, I truly just don't know how they do it. They are amazing people and I could never. They're superheroes in my book,
It really is. And people don't see all the chaos that they do handle. I mean, some of these, like Jonnye said, some of these people have over 100 stores.
Yeah.
And the stores don't stop. Their plumbing and all these issues, roofs, they all happen. But
yeah, the fryer goes down at 9:00 and you have to open again at 10 in the morning. Like, it's, Yeah, they're superheroes disguised as FMs. I think it's the easiest way to put it, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, so I always end my shows like this. And I'll start with you, Carrie, because I laugh when you say you look at a menu 2 days ahead because my ADHD would drive you crazy because I'm like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I'd
So
just be taking a lot of deep breaths.
my wife just rolls her eyes a lot at me. So, what is the one question we didn't talk about that we probably should have talked about?
Um, the value of vendor to vendor relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sure people are so first of all, I don't know where 30 minutes went because I feel like we just started. Second of all, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse because I talk about it all the time, and I'm sure that our vendor community in RIFMA is like, just shut up already. But I'm almost done with my term. You don't have to hear it anymore. But I have gotten just as much business from a vendor to vendor relationship that I have with with a relationship with an FM. Having a friend that's advocating for you in a room when you're not there,
Mm-hmm.
and someone being that, if someone mentions something like, hey, I gotta let you go, I gotta deal with this parking lot. Hey, well, have you ever heard of Elite Paving Group? Like, if you need help, like, my girl Jonnye is the best of the best, right? And these connections that are driven from this vendor to vendor side, it's just, there's nothing like it. And those relationships are just as important as relationships with our client partners.
Yep.
That's
And I will forever stand on top of that hill. We were talking about hills to die on. I
Yep.
will stand on top of that hill with a flag and a name tag that says, ask me why vendor to vendor relationships are important. I will die on that hill.
That's great. That's great. How about you, Johnny?
So when everything Carrie just said, when we revisit my die on the hill question, that's my answer. I agree. And also, Carrie, just because you're rolling off doesn't mean they won't hear it, because I also stand for the same thing. And I'm with you there. That's not going away. It's funny because I actually got a call yesterday. We had walked a couple parking lots in a different state, and they're like, we need, roofers at national scale. And I was like, I gotcha. I know who you can call. So it is, vendor to vendor partners are the best. Not only, getting business through them with FMs, but also like just to have that relationship. You can pick up the phone and call and say, have you worked with them? I'm really struggling. Or have you worked with them? This is where I'm like what I'm running into, and just have that insight. I think another good question, and it does branch off of this, was, what is the best way to utilize your network from a branch perspective? So all of your existing relationships, what is the best way to utilize that to make your network larger? Because, the last thing we want is for growth to mean losing personal touch. We want to be intentional about it because all of that matters. But relationships are what hold everything together. And when the plan changes, having a network as stability is so important. So I think that would be my question is what is the best way to branch off your existing network, and how do you do that?
Those are two great topics that we could probably have another show. And like Carrie said, 30 minutes went too fast for us.
Mhm.
When we talked yesterday, we were like, oh, talking about how we're going to do it. But a couple last items on the vendor to vendor is I tell people at my age, I'm about to be 55. If I can share something with somebody that will help them grow in their development, that's important to me. We talked about it yesterday. There's a lot of pieces of the pie out there, and so just because somebody is at a different facility company or a different pavement company doesn't mean we can't talk to them. Doesn't mean we
Mhm.
can't be friends with them. Just my philosophy in life is do right, and you'll be taken care of.
Mhm.
So, ladies, I cannot thank y'all enough. Thank you for playing along with your antlers and your Santa hat. And y'all have a Merry Christmas, and I hope to see y'all soon.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Paul.
Bye,
Merry
everyone.
Thanks,
Christmas.
Paul.